I gotta start this over. Um, Now, today is August 31st, 22. I went down to Walmart 62. Um, my protective life guys show up, okay? I said, you do realize everything they have is fraudulent. It's fake, okay? It's fraud. 100% fraud. Where the main cop that went to Dave the day after I talked to Will showed up at Walmart, asked Dave about those people threatening her. He better not put his hands on her until I find out what's going on. June of 19 at Liberty House Share, Hills and Dales Road. He was on the phone in front of the North Canton Jackson Police. You made up a case to watch her before. That's funny. You did what to her before. That's funny. She must really like him. It's made up. It's fake. It's fraudulent. It's a fake case. It's fraud. They have nothing but fraud. Fraud with an attempt of extortion to cover up premeditated murder. It's fraud. You can't handle fraud. Police and agencies can only be in a home under a threat of life, and it has to be recorded in the state case with you asking for help and then recorded that they will protect you and the acknowledgement of the other person living in the home of the threat of life. It has to be recorded in the state or it's stalking. It is what it is. It's a right to privacy, right to remain quiet, right to a legal representation, right to a fair court trial, bail and bond. It's private property. You do not get a corner or watch somebody. It's the United States of America. President Nixon couldn't bug an office. He lost his presidency and went to jail. Or not, didn't go to jail. I'm sorry. He could have went to jail, but he lost his presidency and got impeached. He didn't go to jail. He's lucky. It's Watergate. He could have, but he didn't. He's very lucky. But he got impeached. And yeah, he got impeached. He didn't go to jail, but he got impeached. He lost his presidency for just an office. Private property. It's the right to privacy. And then all those other rights. So, I want you to realize how fast my world fell apart. Now, I look back and I realize how stupid I really was. Now, when I called the 1-800 line, because Dave had said his girlfriend was rich and powerful and her family owned the place, because the things that had happened so quickly. September 17th of 18, I had went to Advanced America. Annie, the district manager, was going to send me to Dale Road. Now, I told the hotline this when I called the 1-800 hotline. And that some lady had cost me a job. She sent me to Streetsboro instead. And they went up and they verified it wasn't me. And tried to give me my job back. And that's why I didn't hang up the phone. And that I found out of those churches taking up money because this one guy's kid had got killed in 2003. Had nothing to do with the death. And he lost it at that funeral. And that minister years ago where I was sick and months later I got well, manipulates people, told everybody I was faking I was sick and faking I got well to hurt him while I was grieving. I was telling it 15 years later. And I had documents I was sick, okay? And it had nothing to do with anything, but he manipulates people with lies, okay? I told him that and why I didn't hang up the phone, okay? I told them, now that's September 18th, that happened, okay? Now, I didn't hang up the phone. I had called her after that. So that's probably like the 19th or 20th of 18. Dave holds me down right after that. The I love you, I love her more. I hired a man to slit your throat, stab you in the heart. You'll bleed out, Karen. And I'm so sorry, Karen, you have to die for her. And I got a man to put a bullet in you for run for 30 minutes. He held me down in the cold, dark night. I said I was afraid to move for 30 minutes. He held me down. I said later on he tried to complain it was a vivid dream. I said, but it was no dream. He was very much awake. He was squeezing and kissing me, rubbing his spirit in his body. I thought he was going to kill me with his own bare hands. Okay? All right. I told the hotline. All right. And then I told her, I said, well, back at Lennox, I said we had $5,000 to $6,000 disappear from a safe the year before. And I told him about him leaving early for work and getting caught with pot in his system. I think that's when he hired the guy. And I told her about the attempt to break in at Perry. And he made a mistake there. That the officer said, why would they go through a basement window? And he said they knew where the security system was, and the cop was all over them. They're individually set up. You're part of it. And he said something else. And he was all over them. You're part of it. They're individually set up. He was part of it. Okay? And he was screaming at him in the front yard. Okay? Was part of it. And he'd be checking on him. I said he put himself right in the middle of it. While I'm standing there, it's like, sir, were you just arrived, ma'am? What were you driving by? Okay, I said, then I told her, I said there was another incident documented by the Perry police where Dave told me to go a certain way. This guy starts following him. I told her how he followed him around to me. Kept making every move I did. And the officer said I told you how I had my foot on the brake, that he would have rolled me if I wouldn't have my foot on the brake when I went to turn. And everybody kept saying I should know Savannah. And I said I knew of her, but I didn't know her, and I never had problems with her parent. I said I looked her up, and it was her Facebook friend. It didn't make sense. Why would she be involved? And I said, I found out later with that phone call where I didn't hang up from that one lady because Dave had said, where that girl cost me my job. I thought it was his girlfriend. That I thought maybe it was her. That I'm sorry, this is hard. That's when I overheard that conversation of why they were involved. And that's where it made sense of why they were connected. And I said Dave had made a comment that him and Jack had a plan since March. And Jack is Harold Strange's brother. And then Katie's in the mall saying her church has a plan to kill me. The pieces came together. And she told 3 people that they have a plan to kill me. I gave the hotline all that. Okay, so now they got Katie for conspiracy to commit murder with 3 witnesses. Dave, a main subject of an attempt to break in. And then a direct attempt on my life. 2 of them documented by the police. Directed back to that church. They had a case on a platter. Katie could have went straight to jail. And then somebody impersonating me. Okay? Dave and her should have went to jail right away. Okay? Like how, now that's September 17th, 17, 18, when that girl impersonated me. The phone call is like the 18th or 19th when I overheard it, of 18. Dave holds me down by the 19th or 20th of 18. The 21st is when the guy threatens to knife me at Giant Eagle. Okay. The what a shame guy shows up right after that. And then Dave tells me his girlfriend's family owns the place. And I get spit in my face at the gas station, and then that girl and her boyfriend's harassing me and realizing the attempted kidnapping, the attempted carjacking, the following around, and the attempted break-in was all him and that. And how stupid was I? How stupid was I? How stupid was I? How stupid was I? To think he was only cheating. How stupid was I? I handed the FBI enough information on that 108 line that, yeah, Will, when I went to tell him about that guy threatened to knife me at Giant Eagle, I remember trying to tell him that. I need a witness. Why did he need a witness? I told the hotline about Sarah and her manager and how they were connected. He already had the witness. He didn't want me to tell Dave. Where they said they paid Will off. Where August 10th or 11th in Walmart, we called Will and told Will about Michelle, and he understood and set it up. No one would ever help her, and it's funny they're going along with it. See, I'll tell you what, like I said, I never had to stay quiet. Never had to stay quiet. Like hell. They didn't come looking for me. Because I'll tell you what, I talked to Will on September 27th, 18. Okay? We got our wood burner in on the 29th. I have the copy of the receipt. Okay? And of when it was put in. Okay? And a picture of it on the 30th. Okay? Because I had walked out Josh, and I didn't trust the FBI because that guy had showed up at Paymer's. And those people were out there mocking me for a copy of my phone. I walked Josh out by the boat, and I said, if something, because everybody knew they were threatening my life. Something happens to me, make sure you call the police, because everybody knew they were threatening my life. And I didn't know what to think. I had, because I told you what happened at Paymer's. Before night 4, I called Will back. I had been drugged up after I called the hotline. They had me so drugged up, I could not get out of bed for 3 days after I called the hotline. Like hell, with 3 witnesses, they were going to kill me, and I disappeared. They didn't come looking for me. Like hell. They didn't find their dirty cameras in my home. It's illegal to be in somebody's home. You don't get a court order. Maybe like, what the hell are you doing in the whole's house? What the hell are you doing in the whole's house? It's an extortion ring run out of that area. It's an extortion ring. What the hell are you doing in the whole's house? Like how they didn't find the retired judge's daughter. And the couple of the cops are breaking in private homes, stalking them for extortion and premeditated murder and killing people. Yeah, right, they didn't find out that. Yeah, right, they didn't. And they're stalking them. It's private property. Nixon couldn't walk in office. If it is not a state recorded threat of life case with your voice, ask for help, and them stating that they're going to protect you, it's thrown out. And they go to jail for stalking you. That's why they're wanted for stalking. They can't be in your home. It's private property. Police can't just break in private property and stalk the owners for personal gain. No, they go to jail for that. It's private property. You don't get a coroner to watch somebody. It's a special protective law cases registered in the state with your recording of your voice of asking for help and them stating they'll protect you and the other acknowledgement of it, of the other person knowing of the threat of life. Otherwise, they go to jail for stalking. Yeah. Like how they didn't come looking for me. And like how they didn't find their dirty cameras in Michelle. And like hell, they didn't know. And it was probably the next door neighbor, the guy on the other side of the duplex in the picture window, or a drug dealer doing a deal over there, that they went up there and impersonated a federal officer. I told you. The third day I got up and I was so loopy I couldn't even think. It was like I was drunk. And I'm like, I got to think of how to handle this. And because when Will called, I couldn't even answer my phone. And I'm like, I can't. The first day when he called me, the second day I couldn't hardly get up either. And the third day I made myself get up. And I'm sitting on the front porch and I felt like I was drunk. And I'm like, I got to handle this. And I'm like, how do I handle this? And I went out and started mowing the lawn and get enough air in my face to even think. And then I was out mowing the lawn. I'm like, I gotta think. And I called Sarah. And I'm like, Sarah, will you witness for me? Yeah, Karen, I'm scared for you. It's getting darker. And scared her the way she's talking about it. So I buy her card, put Will's number, and I hadn't even called him back. Went out and dropped it off the mall. Our manager put it in her locker. Took it and went up to Apostolic Church of Barberton. Paul Paymer got into Dave's face. My God, I had an FBI agent in my office. He's right there. And what is this with an FBI agent coming up here asking about threats on her life? Why are you bringing this up to my church? And I walk off and I told you Dave comes in and let's go. And he starts screaming at me. You called the FBI on me? I'm like, what did you expect for threatening my life and these people? And he's swinging at me in the truck until I'm plastered against the door. I almost jumped out at one point because he's trying to hit me in the truck. And when I get home, I ran from him. The next day I have to call Will back. My head's spinning to the point I can't think. And I can only remember the what a shame guy. And at one point, I went to tell him about the guy threatened to knife me at Giant Eagle. And he interrupted me. I need a witness. He didn't need a witness. I already gave the hotline all that shit. I handed the FBI a case on a platter. He should have, and within 10 days, did I ever have to stay quiet? No, it was Dave and his girlfriend's family bugging my house, date rape drugging me, apparently photoshopping a shower scene, maybe other things, and drugging me up with date rape drugs and lying to people they had sodium pentothal reports, and apparently letting some guy named Steve rape me before, and thinking they're fucking funny. They're not funny. None of this is legal. They didn't have a court order to watch me. Like the guy said, they made up a case. It's a fraudulent case to get away with premeditated murder with attempted extortion under it and fraud. It's a fraud case. And these people need to realize how not funny this is. But that agent, to cover his ass, opened up a state case, listed me an informant. I never had to stay quiet. I sat on my sister's front porch last year where I sent little clips of the case to my sister Lori, and she said, Lori asked me what all this shit is, and I said, well, I actually called the FBI on Dave and the Churches. She's like, when did you do that? I said 2018. See, when I called her the next day, and she's like, Karen, where everybody knew they were threatening, she's like, Karen, call the FBI on those churches. It's like, Pam, these people are crazy. One's told on me, the other ones are mocking me for a copy of my phone. I'd have to get a prepaid phone call you at work. They're this crazy. She's like, what? I said, never mind. Stay out of this. I'm a big girl. I got this. She never understood what I said. And that guy already went to Paymer, and he was probably just a next door neighbor on the other side of the duplex or a drug dealer doing deals with him. And they're so advanced. These people can hack your cell phone, make a copy of it. They can hack your security system, race people out walking towards your house. They can turn off your ADT system. They can Photoshop shower scenes. These people are not funny. They're into drugs. They're not funny. And they can corrupt cops and apparently pay off an FBI agent. And it's not funny. And now, you know what? But that agent opened a state case. And he turned me over to the police. And the state won't close it because they haven't caught the guys. And they put me in police protected custody. And they haven't caught the guys. It's called carrying around the house state case. And Will was in the courthouse. Because Will told me I'm part of the Canton FBI. And he said something about the courthouse. And that's where I was going to have Seth take that prepaid phone where I had everything together, where all those bad things and Henry Maffei was following me. And I was afraid to tell him what was in that box. And he wouldn't deliver it in 19 when I tried to help the Asian lady when she said her husband died. And I ended up getting raped and tortured by these idiots. And they sold it, the Real Protective Life case. They hacked into it. And they sold a Real Protective Life case. These people are cruel, evil villains. Some lady in Dollar General the other day said, we didn't realize they lied. They had a court order to watch you before. I'm like, how stupid are you? It's the 4th Amendment right to privacy. 5th, right to remain quiet. 6th, right to our legal representation. 7th, right to a fair court trial, bail, and bond. And where they tell people no one can help me, you have a right, 8th, not to be mistreated. They lie to people. And because they give them dirty drug money, they think it's funny helping killing people. They told Dave, March 1st to 15 and 19, 8 to 10:30 at night, it's just a real life case of how to get away with murder.